Welcome to the second day of STEAM Fest. Today we will be focusing on the impact of a few brilliant women who made a significant advances in engineering. We will be focusing on
Emily Roebling,
Julia Morgan,
and Mary Jackson.
Emily Roebling was instrumental in the completion of the Brooklyn Bridge, which connects Brooklyn and Manhattan, stepping outside of what was expected of women in the mid-19th century and making an impact that can still be seen today. Emily Warren Roebling was born in 1843 in Cold Springs, New York. She married Washington Roebling, whose father was the world's leading architect of suspension bridges, in 1864, and they spent their honeymoon traveling around Europe, visiting bridge construction sites to learn about the latest engineering techniques. Washington Roebling became the chief engineer for the building of the Brooklyn Bridge, but quickly became ill and unable to leave his house. His wife, Emily, stepped in and began to oversee the day-to-day construction of the bridge. Many began referring to Roebling as the first female field engineer, and recognizing her involvement in the project was essential to its completion. After working on the Brooklyn Bridge, Roebling went on to be an advocate for equality and suffrage. Unfortunately, she died of stomach cancer in 1903 after taking an active part in the suffrage movement, the fight for the 19th Amendment. Today, Emily Roebling is known for her work as an engineer on the Brooklyn Bridge and being one of the pioneering women in STEM fields.
and I am Julia Morgan, the first woman to receive an architect's license in California, and the architect behind the Hearst Castle in San Simeon, California. I was born in San Francisco on January 20th, 1872. I studied civil engineering at the University of California, Berkeley, and then went on to become the first woman to study at the world's most prestigious architectural schools, the École des Beaux-Arts in Paris. I moved back to California and opened an independent practice and established my first office in San Francisco. Unfortunately, my office was destroyed in the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, but I was able to establish a booming business regardless because of the high demand for new construction. My most famous client was William Randolph Hearst. I began working for his mother Phoebe in 1913 and for William in 1915. I continued to work with the Hearst family over the next 25 years, with William Randolph Hearst's castle becoming my most famous work. By the time I retired in 1951, I had designed hundreds of buildings and sites. I died on February 2nd, 1957, at the age of 85.
The third engineer we are focusing on today is Mary Jackson, NASA's first Black female engineer who served a vital role in the development of the space program. Mary Jackson was born on April 9, 1921 in Hampton, Virginia. She earned degrees in mathematics and physical science from Hampton Institute. She began working at the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, which would later become NASA, in 1951 as a research mathematician or human computer. In 1953, she began working for engineer Kazimierz Shinaki in the supersonic pressure tunnel. He saw Jackson's potential and encouraged her to take engineering classes so she could be promoted to engineer. In 1958, she became NASA's first Black female engineer. Soon she was promoted to aeronautical engineer and worked at the Langley Research Center analyzing data from wind tunnel experiments and interpreting the way airflow affected planes. She later left the engineering department to become an administrator in the Equal Opportunity Specialist field. She remained in this position with NASA, working Thank you for joining us for this lesson with the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center. We are so pleased that you've chosen to join us for this STEAM Fest lesson in Women in Engineering. There are so many ways to learn about engineering and each unique story. Keep creating!
Join us for today's activity to build your own bridge, and follow us on Facebook to tune into other fun STEAMFest activities and bios. Learn more at WenatcheeValleyMuseum.org.
I stuttered.
You stuttered.
Look, I'm flying with it. Whoa. Okay.